Shalom and welcome. This week we have another double portion, Acharey and Kedoshim. Well, we've now reached a point in the book of Leviticus where the text takes a different turn. Up until this point, the book of Leviticus has been concerned with the laws relating to the priesthood and the sacrifices and how the priests were supposed to act and all of their sacrifices and what they were supposed to do. And now, starting with these two parshiot, the focus shifts back to the people and what the people are supposed to do. Acharey contains many of the commandments that we're very familiar with that have to do with how we relate between people, and some of the sexual commandments that are very famous come from this particular portion. And Kedoshim is so full of these kinds of commandments, with the text saying, "You shall do this because I, the Lord your God, am holy," and various statements like that, that it's come to be called the Holiness Code. And an extremely famous quote comes from Parshat Kedoshim. It's the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's not exactly how it's stated in the portion, but this is the portion that it comes from, Kedoshim. Well, there's a section in Acharey which says that you shall do the commandments and you shall live with them. Now there's an interpretation that says, because it says this in this way, that what it means is that you should perform the commandments, do the mitzvot, only as long as it does not harm you, put you into physical harm. So, how does this relate to a story? Well, there is a story that has to do with the Baal Shem Tov. He started the Hasidic movement, and the Hasidic movement has been an influence for a long time, and it was a different way of approaching how one is to serve God. And this story is about a brief encounter between a group of Torah scholars and the Baal Shem Tov. So this group of Torah scholars was having a heated discussion with the Baal Shem Tov. They said, "Rabbi Israel, it's long been a custom that people who want to get closer to God fast. The purpose of fasting is to reduce the strength of the body and increase the strength of the soul. And this helps one get closer to God. In fact, some people go so far as to fast the entire week and only eat on Shabbat." Now we have heard, they continued on, that you teach that people should only observe the fast days stipulated by the rabbis and by Torah law. We further heard that you tell your people that one should not do additional fasts, because ultimately when one gets called to heaven, one will be put to the question and be held accountable for any physical suffering these additional fasts caused your body. And we've also heard that you tell your people that if you engage in these additional fasts, it's considered a sin. Well, the Baal Shem Tov heard all of these statements, and he sat there and he thought for a moment. And then he formulated his response. His response was this: I have come to propose a new way, to teach a new way of serving God. This new way has three principles. First is the love of God. Second is the love of your fellow Jew. And third is the love of Torah. Now, it's a well-known fact that the Shekhinah does not rest on anybody who is sad. Fasting should not be done in excess because it causes gloom and melancholy. It's not a good thing, and it makes a person sad. We have enough sadness. At this time, before the coming of the Messiah, we certainly don't need any additional sadness. What we do need is joy. Someone should be basimcha, because then the Shekhinah will rest upon him. Basimcha, joy. We certainly could use more of that in the world. So when one performs the mitzvot, one should be joyful, basimcha. King David in Psalm 100 says, Ivdu et Hashem basimcha. Serve God joyfully, with a joyous attitude. Bo'u lefanav birnana. Come into his presence with singing. So we should remember this, and this is how we should perform the commandments. Well, this was the discussion that the Baal Shem Tov had. And this was a long time ago. There is a way that's easy for us to remember this concept of being joyful when we serve God. And that's because there's a song for that text from the Psalm. And I'm going to do the song for you in the hope that some of you will remember this, and this little statement will stick in your mind, so that when you perform a mitzvah, you're thinking of this, and you're being joyful. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. La 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 la. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, Bo lefanav birnana, lefanav birnana. Remember that tune. It's easy. And be joyful when you perform a mitzvah. Shalom.